next meeting at, well, 6:34 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bing. All right, 37 Beechwood. Any issues, Bob? Or same old,
No.
same old?
Well, yep, there's, mobile home park.
You're saying with 127 Beechwood. Same
which is
thing?
Right up the road with it.
They all
basic-
Shanes?
Yeah, they're all Shanes.
And 325 River.
Again, I just got in the revisions today, and all the revisions were made, so.
We're good?
And, yep, no upgrades, no approvals.
All right, 29 Ocean.
So this one, just to have a minute of conversation on, was because I had questions, as I did also receive a question that was regarding whether Title V, specifically 1.405, which is used for full compliance of a system when not feasible, allowing a variance or local upgrade from the Board of Health. So the question was, in the interpretation of, can we allow two of the variances together, which was distance to groundwater separation and distance from the tributary, because this piece of property is right on the pond. So, whenever it seems a little vague, I figured reach out to the resource. So I went to the design engineer and the review engineer.
Okay.
And the review engineer's response, I have in writing, is the interpretation is correct regarding this section. It's for local upgrade approval if DEP were still in the business of dealing with variances. So we can't even go to DEP to ask the question, I guess we could, but the plan would have to be approved by the board subject to granting in that case. Instead, DEP is now passing the buck to local boards as to granting variances. Therefore, the board may grant a variance. In this case, the designer has proposed a fast system. A fast system is it comes in two forms. One just bubbles and one does denitrification. The specific one being used in this plan also does denite. So, he has not specified the model. So on the revision, he specified the model, the 0.5. Keeping in mind the economics on this, the board could justify granting the variance. So part of where my question ran in at the very beginning of 1405 is, if it shows an economic hardship, then the board can just do it but it doesn't say what an economic hardship is.
Right.
Is it $5? Is it $500? Is it $5,000?
Right.
But anyway, so that's, coming now from my review engineer. The board may want to make sure the specific fast module is specified and that it does denitrification too. But that's up to them. So, upon review, it does do denitrification, and then on 3/3 of 21, the property that's right next door to it was allowed in with the same exact treatment system, the microfast 0.500 with G-Nite, which is all approved by DEP, and he was granted a 2-foot variance in the water table. This particular plan is asking for a 3-foot.
Haven't we already gone through this? Didn't this come up on another house, and we had Shane come in this whole situation, and we all decided, because somebody was trying to get, I think Alan was trying to get rid of us allowing this. We went through the whole thing last year, and we came back and decided that it's the same person who's been doing them all along. We've been allowing them for God only knows how many years.
Sorry.
And everything's worked out great. So why are we still running into this problem?
Well, first of all, anytime I get a question from a concerned citizen,
Right.
I feel it's my due diligence to make sure I at least react to it.
Yes.
Immediately, I read through it and I said, you know, we are, and again, I like to be a little bit specific at times, you know.
No, I wasn't saying that you weren't doing your due
No,
diligence. I'm just
no,
saying that it
but-
seems like this is a road we go down every
Well-
time a system gets put in
Right,
on that road.
and what happens when we do variances and approvals, okay, is we're seeking maximum compliance.
Right.
That's what we really, really want, okay? But if we're protecting the environment and there's not a real public health risk involved in it, then I think that we're reaching, you know, a suitable, thing without putting, you know.
Not putting anybody in danger.
And not the tributary. Obviously, the tributaries of primary concern. At this point in time, that particular property is pumping regularly because they were in breakout situations. They have a system that's obviously in the groundwater level. I test the waters right next door to that property in the fall, and I've never had a bad coliform count. So we've already got a bad system that should be polluting the pond that, again, only tests once a year, but I have no indication that it's contributing the way it is. It's bound to be good
And now
with
we're
what's
adding a better
being
system to it.
proposed.
But would it register, is the chloroform the main concern?
Well, yeah, with D-night, it would be any form of either fecal contamination
Yeah.
that's coming out from the effluent.
Yeah.
And because currently, the testing that we do, it doesn't test to see if it was COVID, doesn't test to see if it was antibiotics. All it does is the fecal coliform counts
Okay.
within the pond. And
Yeah.
certainly, my opinion, those should be going in the water as the system is currently and should have been.
Right.
This particular property was on board meetings, I guess years ago too, where they said, hey, guy, it's time for you to upgrade your system,
Right.
you know? So I think that we have what would be at least our best feasible compliance. And I love the denitrification systems. I've used them in other towns. In not only a tributary to a pond, but in a direct water source of the wells, you know? So, you know, I've seen the microfast system in action. It has to have a service contract. So we're gonna know that it's working. And it also, just provides an extra level of protection compared to just like the distance of an extra foot of sand, I guess.
Right.
'Cause you
What's the
just-
service contract? What's that?
So what happens in a service contract is, and we follow up on these all the time, anybody who has alternative technologies
Okay.
has to enter into a contract with a company that will come out and service their particular product.
Mm-hmm.
Usually they just come in, they open up a hatch and make sure the pumps are working, and they'll take, hopefully, a sample and then send me the results.
So that's a requirement for them
That's
to
a
send the results to you?
requirement, right. And certain systems, depending upon how complicated they are, need to be tested 3 times a year, others only once a year.
Okay.
Some twice a year in the first year, and then once every year thereafter.
The only thing I wish, and maybe we do keep tabs of it, but from doing Title V inspections, so one of the rules is you can't pass one if there is not a contract in place at that time.
Okay.
Many times I'm having people call Steve Nelson to get a contract started, which means there has been nothing,
Right.
no contract until I say, yeah, sign it so you have a contract. All of a sudden they have a contract and a test done. So do we have a program in place to make sure, I believe we started that 2 years ago, right?
Started it 2 years ago, but then Peggy went back to part-time.
Okay.
We didn't have the extra 10 hours worth of secretary help. We then gained the secretary help last year, or about a year and a half ago. So that freed up Peggy to be able to start digging in on this, and she has been like, if you look back at our past agendas, on every agenda it says, here's where I'm at with these service contracts, and we might have like 2 that are lingering right now, and it used to be 30.
Yeah, I just
we're
know
on
from my
top of
own
it.
experience, they seem to kind of fly under the radar. Which is,
Oh, they sure, and she felt bad about that though. She goes, Bob, this is something that I want to get to, but I can't get to that. This
you can only go
two hands.
only so many hours in a day.
There you go. So, the possibility's there. I can see, the question, I believe it was a very valid question, but I also think that we're well within the realms of granting these specific, and there'll also be a 2-bedroom deed restriction. So, we're there.
All right. Can I get a motion to ratify the agent's approvals on 1, 2, and 3?
I move to ratify agent's approval on items 1, 2, 3 as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Could I get an approval to allow the local upgrades and variances listed as read for 29 Ocean Avenue?
I move to approve the local upgrades and variances for 29 Ocean Ave as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, I didn't use the right wording. Gift certificates, Bob. You had to give back gift certificates?
Well, I was gonna splurge, get the whole town Chinese food, but I guess couldn't do that. Now, if it'd been $49.99, maybe, but no. So just better safe than sorry. We sent them back.
All right. Ethics training. We all did our ethics training.
Yes. So, and Kelly, you haven't spoken, and I know that you won't speak until we're done with this section, and thank you. Greatly appreciated.
Oh, that was a real nice way of saying keep your mouth shut, huh?
Well, so here's just a quick background. So we do our ethics training. Ms. Dwyer was hired on 7/20 of 20 after public notice of a Board of Health Secretary position opening. 3 candidates were interviewed by the Board of Health. Ms. Dwyer had the qualifications and best availability for the hours required of the secretary position. Kelly was hired. So, after ethics in-person training, Kelly reached out to the State Ethics Commission for clarification if she could hold her 2 positions. She works in the assessor's office and she works for the Board of Health. So she wanted to make sure if everything's okay. So we have full documentation from the Ethics Commission, and the answer is yes. If she does not exceed 500 hours a calendar year in the Board of Health. So, Ms. Dwyer and I have no issue with this, as it requires only a 20-hour reduction over the calendar year. So, in any given 2-week period, she works 20 hours. She could do 19 and a half. She could take extra day off here and there without pay. Kelly has agreed for that. So, in order for Kelly, though, to be able to actually participate in a meeting, say anything, like even, secretary's report, we need to have a vote on a disclosure for number 19. That's what the state sent to us, saying, hey, if you're ever gonna say anything, we need to approve that, and then Kelly can go back to talking again, which would be
Do we do
very
it as a
nice.
one-time thing?
Yep.
Okay.
And then the board votes on 20B, which says that we say it's okay for her to do as such. That goes to the select board. The select board makes her a special associate, and then life's good. So at least if we want to approve Ms. Dwyer as our secretary, then it's in the select board's hands, and everything's ethical and above ground, but pending their final approval. But she is allowed to continue working until such decision's made, and we do have it on the select board's next meeting, so.
So I guess the question is whether or not we want to continue her employment with us? Is that basically what it comes down to?
That's pretty much what it comes down to. I can tell you, if you were to look at Kelly's reviews, I think that you'd agree with me that she's, been an above average associate and a valuable asset to the department and public health in general.
All right, so with that being said, can I get a motion to vote to approve in advance employee participate as Board of Health Secretary in the processing or transacting of Section 20B disclosure with the Board of Health?
Where are you reading from?
Board vote?
I'm like, I gotta make sure.
That's what I'm supposed to be,
Do we
right?
need to do two
Yeah.
different votes?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely
And then-
two different votes.
Okay.
All right, wait a minute. So vote one, board vote.
So that one has A and B, so this is the same thing here, right?
Yeah, this is one's just got A and C. And I and C. And then board vote here's got A and B.
Right, because one's at 20 and one's at 19.
And then also it says approve request of special municipal employee status, is that the same thing?
Yeah, so that's what 20 does, is we would request from the Board of Health that from the Select Board, that they give her special municipal employee status. That's what allows her to basically have the job.
All right, so we need to vote to approve, so it's
Section 19
A,
disclosure.
and then A, and then B? Or do we also need to vote
I
on,
think it's the section 19 disclosure, then the section 20B disclosure, and then reducing her hours from 520 to 500?
Yep, and that's the,
Those are, so 3 separate votes for those things?
yeah, 3 votes
The
actually.
board vote 1A, which is what I just read,
yep,
correct?
Yeah.
so do them individually, or what?
I would.
Okay.
So then you get 19, you get 20, and then you have the hours.
All right, so I'm looking for a vote to approve in advance employees participate as Board of Health Secretary in the processing or transacting of Section 20B disclosure with the Board of Health.
I move to vote to approve in advance employees participate as Board of Health Secretary in the processing or transaction of Section 20B disclosure with the Board of Health.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, now we go to board vote A again, correct?
Under 19, just to make sure. Because I heard 20, I didn't hear 19. Maybe I missed it.
So where do,
Yeah, there is no B on
It
19.
says completed section 19 disclosure by non-elected municipal employee, financial interest or termination, GL 19 attached. And then it jumped right into 20, so there should have been a vote on 19, or should be a vote for 19.
that doesn't say on there, just say.
Right.
Um,
19 is the one that actually allows her to participate. 20 says that we agree that she's going to, that it's going to the select board for final special municipal employee status.
But do we have to vote on that, or is that just something that she does, this disclosure?
The disclosure she does, but for her to be able to speak, the board needs to vote on it. So she's already disclosed.
Yeah.
And you can read 19. Steve should have a copy of it in his hand, hopefully for a signature.
So is it this
Or
right
under
here?
signature, but, I thought
this
it
this I?
indicated that we needed a vote on it. Well, Peggy indicated it needed a vote.
So can we just move to approve the section 19 disclosure?
Yeah,
To read the
I
whole
mean,
thing,
it
or-
would be that simple. It's already signed by the associate, so.
Okay, so I move to approve the section 19 disclosure by non-elected municipal employee of financial interest and determination by appointing authority as required by GLC 268A and 19 attached.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Takes care of that.
Gee, that was confusing.
Yeah, it was, you know, I told them try to keep it simple, but never any attempt to be transparent. We put as
All right,
much
and then
on
we have
the
to do the
agenda
hours,
as
right?
possible, you know? And
Or do we have
then,
to do A and B of,
I think
so
just-
now just all you really have to do is say that, yes, it's a, you know, you don't have a problem with her going from 500 hours to, I mean, from 520 to 500 hours in a calendar year. That we will monitor that and ensure
So-
that it doesn't happen.
I'm looking for a motion to allow the reduction of the current employee's Board of Health hours from 520 to 500 hours per calendar year.
I move to vote to reduce current employees' Board of Health hours from 520 to 500 hours per calendar year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There we go.
Okay, now Kelly,
Oh, now you're talking.
welcome to the Board of Health. We missed you, you know? That's okay.
All right, I think I'm up actually.
So, yeah, you're gonna do the,
Peggy's.
well, first though, discussion items. We have one more vote to throw in, apparently. And then we'll get to admin report. We have the Mhb Fund Appropriation that we discussed at our last meeting. I believe Steve went to the select board and sat at their meeting. Is that true, Mr. McFawn? or-
It is, and it was received very well, and there was a lot of, the word I'm here. People liked you. There were a lot of people happy about the way the board, as well as the extra things you did. The board felt you went above and beyond and made sure that, I don't want to quote Ashley, but basically took something that basically nobody knew what was going on, and you made it pretty, yeah, pretty laid out there, and kind of kept everything calm and the way it needed to go.
So those monies will be rendered. We don't need a vote for that.
Okay.
And then just a quick update on 163 Plymouth Street.
I forgot about that place.
I know, right? I look at it every time I
Maybe.
drive by, but
Maybe we can forget about that place, but currently it is a junk issue. We're not the junk police, okay? What I specifically followed during a year and whatever time was any public health, environmental concerns. To wrap it up, not who's living there, not whether they have metal in the yard, not whether, that all falls in other areas. I didn't want pollutants going into the pond, and I didn't want mosquito breeding grounds. Those are in my regulations. That's the path we followed. Complex situation with what goes on between the tenant, the owners, but again, not my lane. So, at this point in time, I provided you the settlement agreement that legal counsel and I have basically agreed that accepting the settlement from Fannie Mae is fair and reasonable offer. Prolonging seeking full restitution of fines and legal services, because there's still some money left on the table, will more likely than not be very expensive, be time consuming, and it won't guarantee a verdict in the town's favor. Because you don't know what's going to happen during
Right.
litigation, okay? Now, the agreement was provided for your review. It's $5,000, and I recommend that we
Take it.
take it and close this case out. I can still monitor and bring up if there is mosquito activity in the spring. I can do that, and at least right now, though, even with the settlement, and because of the settlement, Fannie Mae can go on to the property. So I can just call Fannie Mae and say, hey, listen, here you go, you know you don't want to fine, make sure you get rid of those tires that are on the side of the road or cover them over because it's a mosquito breeding ground.
Just out of curiosity, what was the amount that they were in it for?
So we were a little bit over 5,000 in legal fees,
Okay.
and we had 5,000 in fines
Okay.
out to them, and we were looking for the full restitution. So
Let's just count our losses and go away.
that's my firm belief, and I trust legal counsel on this, and
Yeah.
if they really thought that it was a slam dunk, they'd
was
go
dead
for it.
without
I mean,
Yep.
I've seen housing courts play out far differently than criminal court. So, and
Just kind of happy to see it go away. Just be honest with you.
yeah, but with me still being vigilant of any health concern on that property.
Right.
I'm sorry that I can't say, I mean, I have disdain for the trailer on the side of the road.
I know.
I don't like, this and that, but whether I like it or not, I can probably find 10 other properties in town that I'm not too happy with either.
Yeah.
All I care about is public health concerns and environmental impacts. So that's my lane, and I stay in it.
So do we have to vote on accepting that or
No,
no? Okay.
no. I just said I wanted to give the board the courtesy of understanding where my decision was going to be at. So
All right, just because we skipped over it, we had already voted for the MAHB, so we don't have to re-vote for that, correct?
to the best of my knowledge, but I'm also the one who distributes the funds. So it might not be bad just to say yes, all in favor. That way I don't get yelled at. But I already went through it with the accounting department, and that's fine. The one thing that we said that we would verify for accounting, because anytime a fund gets appropriated, you have to be able to justify, to the state. Well, Kendra did some of her work either on the CARES Act money and or regular time. she's not double dipping, nor am I. These were all services rendered that were not paid for in any other way, shape, or form. And I can verify that. Jason would also verify it for Kendra, but I mean, there were countless emails on weekends where she had to notify dispatch departments. One weekend I took off, she did the entire COVID tracing for me, and offered support services. So at no point in time, and I don't get anything extra anyway, so she'll be okay, and it can all be justified that she didn't get a little here and get a little more on top of it. So
Can I get a motion to approve the Mhb Fund Appropriation for the COVID services rendered?
I move to approve the MAHB fund appropriation for COVID services rendered.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good job, Bob.
yay, thank you. So now,
COVID.
COVID, oh,
No, wait a
Admin
minute, we skipped a
report.
bunch.
did we?
Admin.
Admin report.
Admin,
Kelly can
here
talk
you go,
about, right?
What about Kelly?
Now you're alive.
Thank you. Okay, so Peggy sent out reminders and invoices to properties under the covenant agreement for Title V inspections due to the beach water testing fees that are due by April 30th of each year, and there's 5 currently. The agent, Bob, takes 2 water samples for the testing for each covenant case property in October of each year. Cost for each resident is $15 per sample and $30 per year dollars. 2 of the water testing fees for 2022 have already been submitted. And also in her report, a letter has been sent to the Halifax Beach Association, contact Helen, stating that the beach testing fee of $165 is due to the town for the samples collected and tested between May and August of 2021. Those must be paid prior to the Board of Health approving the Halifax Beach opening for 2022. And as far as I know, there has not been a response yet.
And which one is the Halifax fee? Is that the Anna one? The Halifax?
That's at the end of 11th and
Okay,
Riverview
by the
or
beach.
Riverside, or,
Yeah.
down there. So, I mean, they paid in years past, but I can't seem to find their, commission. So, or whoever's in charge of it. So it either just becomes a free-for-all beach, or I can check with the town and see if they want to make it another public beach, but there's no parking there, really.
No, there really isn't.
So, I mean, and that's the one that always seems to test high anyway, because they get 8,000 geese on it all the time.
Right.
And the wind directions aren't favorable. It sort of stays there. It doesn't, even
Right.
just the difference between getting down to 4th Ave, there's a much better turnover in the water rate,
Yeah.
but, so.
Well, thank you very much, Kelly. Bob, COVID, is it going away?
Yeah, apparently, okay? Okay, so, first, I'll give you a couple of 2 and 4 week run rates. 3.76, 3.53, which is a significant decrease from the 20s that we were in. Whether it's lack of people testing or whether there's less infection, I guess is undetermined.
W's a W.
You know, but W's a W. So, I reasonably expect positive trend rates to continue a downward trend. The only potential pitfall is the emergence of another variant. So, there's still not enough data to predict the true effectiveness of vaccination and natural immunity, but both have certainly helped bring down these numbers. So, one of the things that's also happening is mask mandates are being rescinded, but they're still required in certain settings until such time. I would ask that people just stay respectful and kind to people who prefer to wear a mask, whether they're protecting themselves or others in a compromised position. You know, I just think it's good social behavior
Yeah.
and not to judge, you know.
Personal choice.
And then my nurse is getting onboarded, so after, you know, she gets into it a little bit here, where I want to try to focus some of her attention and our attention as a board is the after effects and the fallout effects that are going to be, that I've been seeing in mental and behavioral health. There's many challenges that this pandemic has set forth for both young and old. There's currently a war. So, you know, there's a lot on people's plates and everybody handles it differently, and everybody needs you know, whatever works for them too. Some people just need to go for a walk, you know, they can chill. Other people may actually need, you know, professional help. So for us to be able to try to help and guide and direct the people, just as I did throughout COVID when people were sick, I'd like to take a forefront on with her and see what we can do. I mean, to me, even if I only help one individual, it's one more than I would have helped if I don't focus this way, so.
Has she been involved? Like, have you heard from her?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Hear from her all the time. It was a matter of getting her set up with through IT and all this. So Caesar, her and I have a meeting this Friday. So that, you know, but she's already been in contact saying, well, what can I do? Where can I go? And I said, okay, here you go. So I keep like firing her homework assignments.
I like it.
Read up on this, read up on that. I actually had to do contact tracing on a Legionella disease. Oh yeah, poor guy almost passed away.
That's bad news.
Really bad news, I'm telling you. And then tracking down all the things. He got it up in Maine in a hot tub that hadn't been inspected and had no chlorine in it.
Man.
And the answer I got from that particular health agency was, well, due to COVID, we weren't able to do the regular pool and spa inspections. I said, well, due to COVID, could you have said don't open the pool or the spa if you can't adequately inspect it? So we only have one pool in town here. I've had other towns where, you know, there's multiple things. I can assure the board that there'll be no food establishment, no pools, no spas, no recreational camps, all the things that I actually inspect open unless they're inspected. So I learned a valuable lesson, but thank God the guy's back to work and he's okay. But that was Tuesday of this week, and it happened December 24th.
Merry Christmas.
Huge, yeah, pneumonia, bad pneumonia. You know, I don't have to tell Candace.
Let's see if we get some bills to affirm.
Yeah, and then MS4, just real quick.
What's that?
All good. It's going to the select board, their next meeting, and then they'll have at it, and hopefully they'll be able to do the town warrant, because it has to go on the town warrant for town meeting. But we've done our part. Concom's done theirs. Now let them approve a budget and decide what's going on. But except for us meeting our requirements, which is no problem, off our plate.
Bam. All right. Let's affirm some bills. Who wants to get paid? All right, so for the week February 12th, 2022, I'd like to affirm the payroll for Robert Valerie, Margaret Salter, Kelly Dwyer, and Brian Kling. Can I do all of them? Or do I have to do it week by week?
Should we do them week by week, Bob, or can we do them all together?
You do them all together.
All right, for the payroll week ending February 26th, Robert Valerie, Margaret Salter, Kelly Dwyer, and Brian Kling. For the expense account, for MEHA, invoice 24705-2022 for Robert Valerie, health agent, for a new training, $195. WB Mason, invoice ending 8046 for office supply for $89.18. WB Mason, invoice ending 4636, office supply for $25.19. Amazon Capital Services, geez Bob, you're shopping a lot. Invoice is ending C1QK for an iPad Air 10.9 inch 2020 case with pencil holder, $24.98.
I didn't buy the pencil, by the way. This came with the holder.
D, I cannot read, so we're going to skip over that. E, for revolving account FY 22-12 for John Delano, invoice plan review for 29 Ocean Ave, $85. And for F, Amazon Capital Service invoice ending 9LNL for an Apple iPad Air 4th generation for $1719.98. The state has also sent a reimbursement for this item. So I am
So we only paid for a case, and now Board of Health has an iPad, all paid for by the state.
Nice.
So sorry for $29 that, yes, I did spend. Whoever my
That
predecessor
would be good
is,
for you out in the field, though.
it's absolutely what I need, because
Yeah.
many times when I'm calling up codes, and if I do it on the phone, it's not as easily read as a nice 10-inch tablet, and it takes phenomenal pictures, and
Nice.
so, very beneficial piece of equipment, and comes for free from the state, so.
So basically, I'm looking to affirm everything on A, B, C, E, and F as read.
I move to affirm bills paid and noted under A, B, C, E, and F.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You two have to do.
Yep. I move to affirm bill paid for the revolving, no wait, for the expense account 01-512, fiscal year 22-12, MEHA invoice 25006 for Steve McFawn, 2022 Title V Seminar 115.
I move to affirm bills paid D as read.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving right along. Ooh, permits. I didn't even know there was a Cinderella now.
Oh my gosh, that's my girl. So we
I
gotta
mean, look
approve
at this.
that.
I mean,
Every 2 weeks. Well,
Where is she?
I moved to approve that. It's right near right in front of Stop and Shop.
oh,
Next to
look at
Lineville.
Yeah,
that. All right, well.
Very nice ladies.
she's actually, at the beginning of COVID, they had a case, and she almost verbatim read me what she had to do, and I was like, huh?
They're
Wait a
sweet.
minute, I thought I might have like a language barrier.
Oh, no.
No way.
Cindy's
She
very
was on
smart.
it better than, better than a lot of other places.
All right, so permits. Cinderella nails, we know we've seen on that. 2022 artificial nails permit. How many 2 liquors? 2022 retail food, nicotine sales, and ice cream permit. Rodney's Kitchen. 2022 food establishment permit. Healthy Habits Nutrition. 2022 food establishment permit. William Terry McGovern, Steinbeck and Taylor Incorporated, 2022 soil evaluator permit. Shane McGlone Enterprises, 2022 soil evaluation permit. Wind River Environmental, 2022 septic installers permit. Michael DaCosta, Wind River Environmental 2022 Title V Inspector's Permit. Nicholas Genesio, Wind River Environmental 2022 Title V Inspector's Permit.
I move to approve permits as read, items 1 through 9.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So permits, that's done, mail folder. I'm looking for a motion to close the meeting at 7:19.
I move to close the meeting at 7:19.
There are meeting minutes as well.
What?
Was that?
On the next page, there are meeting minutes, I believe that need to be voted on.
Just says to be signed,
Oh, okay,
is all it says.
Yeah, that's all that you guys do.
okay.
Okay, well,
Quick,
we-
it's still
can we-
7:19. Finish the motion. Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Bam.
Aye, aye.